Hey buddy. The streets were quiet. Then boom, an explosive fight tore the silence apart. All because of the lies. Yeah, the lies they spread about you. And oh nah, don't act surprised. Betrayal always comes dressed in fake smiles. You ever felt that sting? When people twist your name? When they paint you dirty? Just to keep their own hands clean? That's the fire we're stepping into today. But wait. Oh wow. Here's the twist. This ain't just a story. It's a mirror. A mirror showing how powerful you really are when the world tries to break you, and still you laugh back in their faces. So buckle up, 'cause this ride ain't soft. It's raw. It's heavy. It's straight in your veins truth. And if you're hearing this right now, you're not just an audience. Nah, you're the real survivors, the ones who know what it means to fight silent wars with nothing but your willpower. That's why this channel salutes you. Every single one of you legends out there who drop comments, who smash that super thanks, who stay locked in till the last second. You're not just viewers, you're part of this movement. You're the reason this voice gets louder. So lean in closer. Feel that tension. Because what's coming next will shake your bones, mess with your mind, and remind you exactly why they fear you. Every downfall begins not with fire, but with a whisper. That's the thing nobody prepares you for. The silence before the storm. The way people don't stab you with a blade. No, they stab you with words. Words that drip like poison. Words that spread like wildfire. And you never even see it coming. You just wake up one day and realize your name doesn't belong to you anymore. They stole it, twisted it, dressed it up in dirt. They passed it around like broken glass, each shard cutting deeper than the last. They didn't need proof. They didn't need facts. All they needed was appetite. And oh, people are hungry, aren't they? Hungry for a villain, hungry for someone to burn. And when they couldn't find one, they built one, out of you. Oh wow. That's the part that leaves you shaking. Not the lie itself, but the precision of it. The way it was crafted, sharp enough to slice through your dignity like paper. The way it crawled into ears, slipping through walls, infecting conversations you weren't even present for. Suddenly, you're not you anymore. You're their invention, their monster. And the silence around you, that's the loudest part. Because silence is where betrayal screams the most. The glances, the half smiles, the way people don't look at you the same anymore. That's how you know the lie has done its work. That's how you know the fire has been lit. But here's the cruel twist. Lies are fragile. So fragile, like glass hanging by a single thread. At first they glitter. At first they look convincing. But give them weight, and they crack. Give them time, and they shatter. Yeah, they thought their whispers would finish you. They thought they could bury you beneath shadows. But nah, shadows can't bury light. Shadows only exist because light is there in the first place. And the truth? The truth doesn't bow to whispers. It waits, patient, relentless, and when it strikes with the force of an earthquake. That's when it happened. The eruption, the explosion. Not the soft kind. Not the subtle kind, but the kind that tears the air apart. Because lies don't just die quietly. They die violently. They claw. They resist. They thrash in their final moments, and when they die, they leave chaos in their wake. It wasn't just words anymore. It wasn't just whispers. It was a fight, a real fight. A storm that ripped through the air, fists and fury crashing against each other. Because when the mask finally fell, people couldn't hide behind silence anymore. The truth was too loud, the lies too exposed, the tension too sharp to ignore. And in that chaos, something shifted. It wasn't just about proving yourself. It wasn't just about defending your name. It was about something deeper, something primal. The realization that you were never weak to begin with. That every word they spat was sharpening you, hardening you, turning you into something they never intended, a force they could not control. Oh, and here's the beauty of it. The very fight they sparked to break you became the stage where you rose. The arena where their whispers turned to screams and their screams turned to silence. But tell me this. If the fight itself was this explosive, what do you think came after? A fight ends when fists drop, but this didn't end. The room still shook even after the punches stopped flying. The air was heavy, like thunder trapped inside four walls waiting to break free again. Chairs overturned, shards of glass scattered like fallen stars on the floor, and silence crept in, but not the calm kind. No, it was the kind of silence that feels like it's holding its breath, daring someone to move. At first glance, it looked like chaos had finally burned out, but you could feel it deep in your bones. The fight wasn't over, because this was never about who swung harder. This wasn't about blood or bruises. This was about something much heavier. Truth. And truth doesn't just walk away quietly. It doesn't bow to fists or fold under noise. It lingers. It waits. It demands to be seen. Oh, wow. That's when it hit you. The explosion wasn't the fists. It wasn't the yelling. The real explosion was the aftermath. The way every single person in that room suddenly saw through the smoke. Some stared at you like they had just witnessed something they couldn't unsee. Some turned their eyes away, ashamed. And some, the ones who lied, looked smaller than they had ever looked before. Yeah. The fight was never random. It was the mask ripping off. It was their carefully painted lies crumbling in real time. It was the raw, unfiltered moment when people realized who had been telling stories and who had been carrying the truth all along. But nah. Don't mistake it. Standing there wasn't victory, not yet. It was survival. It was endurance. And survival doesn't mean the war is finished. Survival means you get to see the next round. And oh, the next round was heavier than anything the fists could have given. Because now you weren't fighting them with hands anymore. You were fighting their memory, their stories, their desperate attempts to cling to the lie even after it was bleeding out in front of everyone. That's when you realize the war is never in the moment of chaos. The real war is in the silence that follows. The way people remember, the way they retell, the way they reshape what just happened into something that fits their comfort. And there you were in the center of it. Not broken, not crushed, but standing. And that's what terrified them the most. They expected collapse. They expected you to fold, to scream, to beg, to crawl. Instead, you stood in the ruins, calm, sharp, unshaken. Oh, and how that silence screamed louder than any punch that landed. Because when people see someone rise out of fire without flinching, it forces them to question everything. Their lies, their loyalty, their own weakness. That's why they kept staring. That's why the air stayed heavy. Because deep down, they all knew the fight was never about fists. It was about truth trying to claw its way back into the world. And once truth begins clawing, once it smells freedom, it doesn't stop, it doesn't rest, it doesn't fade. It hunts. So the real question wasn't who won the fight. The real question was, who will survive the truth that came out of it? Because the fight lit the fire, but the fire wasn't done spreading. Bruises fade in weeks. Lies can haunt you for years. That's the cruelty most people don't understand. A fight ends. Blood dries. Knuckles heal. Broken furniture gets replaced. But lies don't vanish with the dawn. They crawl. They whisper. They spread like smoke under a locked door. You can't always see them, but you smell them, and everyone else does too. When the dust settled, you thought maybe it was finished, but it wasn't. Because the fight was never the real war. The fight was just the spark. The real war began in the silence afterward, when people started choosing what story they wanted to remember, and oh wow, that's when it hit hardest. Some wanted to see you as the villain because it entertained them. Some clung to the lie because it excused their cowardice. And some just didn't care about truth at all. Yeah, that's what cut deeper than fists ever could. Not the noise of lies, but the quiet acceptance of them. People will let shadows live in their heads as long as it saves them from the discomfort of questioning. They'd rather keep sipping poison than admit they've been drinking from a poisoned cup. And that's when you realize the lie isn't just about you anymore. It becomes part of the room, part of the air. Every conversation carries a trace of it. Every look, every pause, every silence. The fight may have ended in one night, but the lie built a house in their minds. Nah, don't think for a second that means you lost. Because here's the hidden twist. When lies linger, they start to rot. They stink. They grow desperate. They repeat themselves louder and louder, trying to sound alive. But the more they scream, the weaker they look. That's the law of shadows. They can stretch long, but they vanish the second real light enters. Still, it's not easy standing in that shadow. Every step forward feels heavier. Every plan you make feels watched. Every word you speak feels measured against their stories. And yet here you are, moving anyway. That's the power they never accounted for. They thought whispers could chain you, but whispers can't bind someone who's already chosen to walk free. Oh, and here's the irony. The more they whispered, the stronger your silence became. The more they tried to bury you under stories, the higher you climbed. Every falsehood they spread became fuel, not chains. And slowly, piece by piece, people began to notice. Not all of them, not immediately, but enough. Because truth doesn't need applause, it just needs time. That's the secret, isn't it? They wanted you broken by their lies, yet their lies became your training ground. They wanted you invisible, yet their stories made you unforgettable. And now the question isn't whether they can destroy you. The question is whether they can survive the weight of what they created. Because one day sooner than they think, the lie will collapse under its own weight. And when it does, The only thing standing in the ruins will be you. But tell me, what happens when you finally stop reacting to the lies and start dissecting them? A lie is never just a word. It's a mirror, showing more about the liar than the one they lie about. That's the sharp edge most people miss. They think lies are weapons aimed outward, meant to wound you. But look closer. Every lie carries fingerprints. Every false story reveals the weakness of the person who created it. Because people don't lie about things that don't matter. They lie when the truth terrifies them. Oh wow. That's when the realization cuts deep. The lie they told about you wasn't born from your weakness, it was born from your strength. They saw something they couldn't control, something they couldn't match. And instead of rising higher, they sank lower. Instead of building themselves, they tried to break you. That's the psychology of it. Lies aren't attacks, they're confessions. Yeah, think about it. Why do people bend words, twist shadows, stretch stories? Because they fear silence. They fear being unseen. They fear what happens if truth stands unchallenged. And so they fabricate. They create illusions. But here's the madness. Illusions are fragile. They require constant feeding. They require repetition. Without fuel, they die. That's why they kept speaking louder and louder, as if noise could become proof. But nah. Noise isn't proof. It's panic. It's desperation wearing a mask. Every repeated lie is an admission of fear. And the more they pushed it, the clearer it became that they weren't in control, they were losing it. Here's the twist. Most people never notice. When someone lies about you, they hand you a map of their own fears. Look at the lie closely enough and you'll see exactly what they envy, exactly what they can't reach, exactly what burns them inside. That's why lies are dangerous, not because they hurt you forever, but because they reveal the truth about the liar. Oh, and once you understand that, everything changes. Suddenly, you're not wounded by the lie. You're dissecting it. You're analyzing it like a scientist watching a failed experiment. Their venom stops being poison and starts being data. You see their patterns. You see their triggers. You see the cracks in their armor. And once you see cracks, you can't unsee them. That's the real reason the fight exploded. Not because the lie was strong, but because it was weak. Because weakness exposed always tries to fight its way out. They weren't throwing fists at you, they were throwing fists at their own reflection. They just used you as the screen to hide it. But here's the darker truth. Once you recognize the psychology of the lie, you carry a power they'll never understand. You can weaponize truth. And truth, unlike lies, doesn't need repetition. Truth doesn't scream. Truth doesn't beg to be believed. Truth just waits. Silent, patient, immovable. And when it finally reveals itself, it does so with the weight of 1,000 storms. So when you stand there now, calm, sharp, unbroken, you're not just surviving, you're studying. You're watching the very ones who tried to bury you, and you see them for what they are. Desperate, fragile, terrified of your presence. And the best part? They know you see it. That's when fear changes sides. That's when silence becomes your weapon. That's when the one who was lied about becomes untouchable. Strength isn't built in silence. It's revealed there. Think about it. The entire storm, the whispers, the betrayal, the fists, the aftermath, it all led to this point. To you, standing in the ruins but not ruined, breathing heavier but unbroken, This isn't survival anymore. This is evolution. They thought the lies would cage you. They thought the fight would crush you. They thought the aftermath would drown you. But here you are, sharper than ever, carrying scars like medals, walking with a presence that unsettles every coward in the room. Oh, wow. Do you feel it? That shift in the air when you enter? That tension that coils in silence? It's not because you shout. It's not because you demand. It's because you exist. And your existence is proof of their failure. Proof that everything they said, everything they tried, everything they plotted didn't work. That's the most terrifying truth they'll ever face. Yeah, people can argue with stories. They can twist words. They can rewrite memories. But they cannot argue with survival. They cannot argue with presence. They cannot argue with the person who walked through fire and still stands tall. And nah, don't mistake this for arrogance. This isn't arrogance. This is clarity. Clarity born from every cut, every betrayal, every sleepless night. Clarity that whispers to you, you are not who they said you were. You are who you became despite it all. That's why your smile rattles them now. That's why your calm presence unsettles their bones. Because smiling after betrayal isn't weakness, it's war. It's the declaration that nothing they did could rewrite the truth of you. It's the quiet thunder that tells them you lost. Oh, and the beauty of it. They can keep talking, keep twisting, keep clinging to their fading lies. But the more they try, the clearer it becomes. You are untouchable. Not because you silenced them, but because you no longer need to. Their voices shrank. Their stories cracked. Their shadows collapsed the second you stopped chasing them. Now you walk differently. Not lighter, not heavier, but steadier. With the weight of experience in your steps and the sharpness of truth in your eyes. You don't need to prove yourself anymore. You don't need to fight in their arena anymore, because the greatest fight is already over, the one inside you. And now, every room you step into remembers the war you survived, even if no one speaks it out loud. Every silence bends around you. Every whisper dies quicker. Every eye that doubted you flinches, because deep down, they all know the same thing. The one who's been lied about and still stands cannot be broken again. So where do you go from here? You rise. You rise higher than their reach, beyond their stories, past their shadows. And when you rise, you don't rise for them. You rise for yourself, for the truth that always belonged to you, for the fire that could never consume you. And there it is. The fight, the lies, the fire, all of it, exposed right in front of you. They thought they could bury you under whispers. Nah, they just built the stage for your rise. Oh wow, do you feel it? That energy running through your veins right now? That's not anger, that's transformation. That's proof that nothing they throw at you can crush what's inside. Because here's the truth. They can lie, they can twist, they can scream, but you endure. You sharpen. You turn the pain into power. And when the smoke clears, guess who's still standing? You. So yeah, this ain't just the end of a video. This is the beginning of your reminder. They tried to break you, but all they did was build you. And to every single one of you legends, watching till the final second, respect, salute, honor. You're the backbone of this channel, the reason this fire never dies. Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that super thanks, and let the world know you were here when the truth burned. The lies down. Now lean back, breathe deep, and remember this: when their lies start wars, your strength ends them,